Content warning. The following episode of Killer Score contains references to extremely graphic violence and sexual extortion. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello! Welcome back to Killer Score, the podcast that covers cult classic films with killer scores and soundtracks that we believe deserve to be covered and given more attention, or just talked about because we're bored. I mean, why else do we do this podcast? So, yeah, we are back. Sorry for the delays. It's been a very busy holiday season for everyone.
Yeah, everybody.
We're not going to bore you with all the personal details, so we'll just get back into it and say thank you for being patient with us. We are finally back with the episode we promised you guys. And
back
luckily it's still winter, so it still applies. If anything, it's more applicable because it's even
bleaker.
more miserable now outside.
Yeah, there's like 6 inches of snow outside.
Yeah,
so.
we just got the Northeast where we are just got hit pretty bad by some snowstorms these past few weeks. So.
To the point where, and this is where I warn the viewers for some background noise, we have a pump in the studio to keep this whole place from flooding.
Yeah, because the snow melts, it creates water, and yeah.
So if you hear
You know science.
Science is fun.
Science. It's what's for breakfast.
Science rules. Bill.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill.
Anyway.
That guy rules.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basic promo stuff out of the way first.
Yeah. In the meantime, some big developments have happened on the end of Richie and I. We are finally in a big production. We are both voice actors in the independent video game Soul Ripple.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
With yours truly as the protagonist, Sherlock.
And I am one of the antagonistic characters, Blondie. So look forward to us in that. Some other cohorts related to Killer Score have made their way in it as well. Shout out to your buddy.
Yep. Chris Conti, congratulations, my man. And Ben Grace, congratulations to you as well, you cocky son of a bitch. Can't wait to act with all of you.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a blast, yeah.
And I am so stoked for that. That's been a lot of fun, and the guys behind the game have been so accommodating and so nice.
Yeah, we're still early in production, very early.
Very early.
But look forward to that. Please buy it and check it out when it comes out. And, of course, if you're watching this and you got any projects you'd be interested in putting these two folks in, or if you need someone to do some piano music for your project, we got somebody else here.
Yep.
Or she also does ukulele and guitar.
Yep, I do. I dabble with bass, but I'm not a bassist.
But yes,
we are though.
Yeah. So yeah, check out that stuff for us. It's going to be, from what I understand, sort of like a visual novel deal.
Yes, cut from the same cloth as Danganronpa and Ace Attorney.
No-Nary games, if you're familiar with those as well. The Zero games, 9-person.
I got the distinct tang of American Danganronpa from this.
Yeah, and I really get impressions of the No-Nary series, like the Zero Escape games. 9 hours, 9-person, it's 9 doors.
Zero Escape. That's one of those.
Yeah. So, Ace Attorney. If you like that kind of stuff, check it out.
Anyway, as alluded to by my illustrious co-host, it's cold, dark, and bleak on our end of the country, and thus I thought the stage was set for a nice neo-noir piece and character study that Erin, I believe, is the uninitiated on.
Yes, I am. I've never seen this movie.
And that movie would be the Dan Gilroy nightmarish neo-noir masterpiece, Nightcrawler. So, lot of interesting history and production elements behind this one, my friends, because the director in question, Mr. Dan Gilroy, has had a long and storied career.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Lot of co-writing for different movies.
Oh, all right.
To the point where one of his more notable contributions was, I believe, co-writing for... If I can check my liner notes here.
Yeah,
Apologies.
Give him a second. Yeah.
I am professional.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Hey, like I said, there's a lot of stuff here, and I bring up his long career for reasons that will become apparent in a moment.
Definitely a very fine Gyllenhaal performance. He always does pretty well in the really dark stuff. Not to discount his comedic talents, though, because, like, he doesn't do comedy that much, but when he does comedy, he's really good at it.
He's really good.
If you want to get a good example of him doing excellent comedy, please check out his bit and the John Mulaney Netflix special, The Sack Lunch Bunch.
Yeah.
He's so funny in that.
So, this movie comes from Dan Gilroy, and most of his prior work was for big budget Hollywood movies that I guess one could harshly call mid-tier. Stuff like The Bourne Legacy and Real Steel, which I like. It was good.
It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots with the plot.
Yeah, kind of it.
And fun fact about that movie, by the way.
Yeah?
It was originally a short story that got adapted into an episode of the original Twilight Zone.
I did not know that.
Yeah, me either.
The episode was simply called Steel. Anyway, back to...
Original or 80s Twilight Zone?
Original.
Oh, okay.
60s.
Wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a story for another day if we ever decide to cover Real Steel.
I've seen
Anywho,
it.
yes.
I haven't.
Okay.
Well, there
There
we
we
go.
go. Okay. Popcorn flick. Anyway,
Yeah.
so this movie is actually the directorial debut of Dan Gilroy, who had long since been relegated to co-writer status and a lot of stuff. This film is about a nighttime photojournalist.
Yeah.
Specifically of the type that cover disastrous accidents, crimes, and the like. And the inspiration for this film actually came from way before it started production. Back in the 80s, when he would see nothing but these types of journalists on the streets.
Yeah.
From there, he had developed a script about the so-called Nightcrawlers going out and essentially building profits off of tragedy.
Yeah, so just so you're not confused, this has nothing to do with the X-Men.
No, this
I
isn't.
would say this has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the X-Men.
It's not
character.
Kurt.
No,
This
you
isn't
should
Kurt.
not.
This is not Kurt Wagner.
Because if you go into this with that, you're going to be really confused and disappointed.
Disappointed and terrified because this is a bleak one.
Nightcrawler, where are you? You got to stop Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a psycho. Come on, Kurt, man. Teleport in there and make a quip.
Don't expect any of that.
Remember that time he became the Pope?
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, fun fact for those unaware that in the X-Men comics for a stint there, Kurt Wagner was the Pope.
Okay, then.
X-Men comics are a special kind of comic weirdness.
Yeah.
I don't.
Not to discount Avengers, though. I'm just going to say this real quick, and those who know, and those who don't get to remain blissfully unaware unless they look it up. Avengers number 200.
Yeah, these are this is the two reactions.
Yeah.
Richie throwing up and me being like,
What?
Don't, Erin, don't Google it.
I didn't plan on it, but okay.
Trust me, you have no idea how much of a bullet you're dodging right now.
Let me put it this way.
No.
There's I'm not going to go into that, but it is somehow it is somehow more gross and egregious than the whole Quicksilver Scarlet Witch incest stuff.
Oh god.
It is.
It is.
This is like Flowers in the Attic, but worse.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he conceived the whole thing in 1988, specifically after seeing all those photojournalists of that specific variety out and about, and reading the photo book The Naked City, which essentially consisted of that sort of news coverage.
I wouldn't be surprised, too, if, I don't know if it mentions it, but I'm getting the vibes that I wouldn't be surprised if Hollywood Babylon was a big inspiration for this.
As were the late neo-noir movies of the 70s. Specifically, Gilroy had mentioned Chinatown as a particularly big influence.
Because it's interesting, because what the first, photojournalist that comes to that comes to my mind when I think about, people going out and photographing, dark, nitty-gritty stuff is Jonathan Rhys's How the Other Half Lives.
Oh.
Which was actually a Victorian piece where this guy went around New York City and just, taking photos of people living in poverty.
Yeah. Or that guy who did all those, I totally forget his name and I feel bad. I did journalism. I should know this. The guy who did all the photos during the Depression.
Oh, Dorothy something?
Yeah, remember the person who did all those, Depression-era photographs? So,
the Dust Bowl and the migrant
the
workers?
Dust Bowl and the migrant
How
workers.
am I forgetting that
the
too?
Depeche Bowl?
Brain, whatever. But, the famous photo of the mother with her 2 children holding her while she looks off forlorn.
Yeah, Dorothy something. I can't remember her last name.
No, it was a guy who did those photos, I thought.
I'm pretty sure it was a woman.
Really?
I think so.
All I know is they did an adaptation. They actually did a thing in a Disney movie that was a preamble to California Adventure that showed some of that stuff. That was a dramatization of that works and stuff. That's actually where Jeanette McCurdy got her screen debut, because she was one of the children in those Depression era photos.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because this is true and this is sad. Jeanette McCurdy, before iCarly, they were like, hey, we want the sad-looking kid. That kid is perfect at looking really, really sad.
It hurts.
And depressed.
It hurts.
And playing situations where she has a really bad family life. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Right?
All right.
Hey, it's a depressing episode. We gotta throw in some depressing stuff.
Yeah.
You're not kidding, Dalton.
Yeah.
This one is a bleak movie.
Whew.
And that's why there's a content warning at the very beginning of this one.
Yeah, because are you guys familiar with Hollywood Babylon? Because I feel it's very relevant to this.
Not very.
Okay, so Hollywood Babylon is a famous piece of just trash journalism. It was a book that a lot of stuff was refuted in, but it covered a lot of the sleazy underbelly of Hollywood and stuff like that. And some of it's outright manufacturing lies and stuff. Hollywood Babylon was the first book to perpetuate a lot of the myths about the Hollywood casting couch, despite the fact that a lot of that has been refuted. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm sure it does in some cases, but
they played up the sleeves.
Exactly, and they played up not only that, but they named people who it happened to who outright said that never happened.
Yeah, it was
to me.
false.
Yeah.
And perhaps most infamously, Hollywood Babylon, and this is part of the reason the book has not been reprinted in recent years, is because it's gross. It's just wrong.
Filthy.
It has photos of the Jane Mansfield accident.
Oh, Jesus.
And for those who are unaware, she was literally decapitated.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and it just has photos of it.
Hold on. Yeah? Okay. Thank you. All right. Just been informed that YouTube has dashed whatever hopes that we have of monetization.
We already can't be monetized. We don't have enough people. Speaking of which, if you would like to have us be
subscribe.
if you would like to have us monetized so we can get unmonetized when I do stuff like this, subscribe, baby.
Hey, if all this true crime podcasting and sponsorships and monetization, I think we'll be okay.
Speaking of true crime stuff, a lot of true...
Let's talk about a word from our sponsor, Bright Cell. I'm kidding. We're not sponsored by anyone.
It's always fucking Bright Sellers.
Why is it always Bright Sellers that sponsors people nowadays? And Scentsy. No.
Scentsy is weird because it's perfume. Bright Sellers means you're an alcoholic.
Or Scentbird. That's
also perfume.
Yeah.
So, speaking of true crime stuff, a lot of true crime television and literature informed the writing process for Nightcrawler,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
after a while of taking all of that media in, Gilroy came to a conclusion. He couldn't make a traditional literary hero for a movie like this.
No.
And that's when he got an idea. Make it an anti-hero, if not villain protagonist. And oh boy, is Lou Bloom a slime ball.
Yeah.
And that is putting it very mildly.
I'm just thinking about Mark Renton from Trainspotting.
I mean, is there like there a lot of movies where like the press or media is presented in a good light, though?
That's
to be
right.
honest,
The only one I can think of is Spotlight.
yeah, Spotlight's one of the only good ones. Only one of the ones I can think of where it's like that's good, and like, All the King's Men wasn't that journalism one?
Yeah, that's about Watergate.
Yeah.
All the President's Men.
All the President's Men. Yeah.
But I think the whole Mark Renton comparison is so off because he looks like an angel compared to Lou Bloom. All this led to the casting process wherein Jake Gyllenhaal kind of blew the other auditioners out of the water, and the process for characterizing Lou Bloom was very much a joint effort in a lot of ways, with both Gilroy and Jake Gyllenhaal comparing the character to a coyote, and the comparisons will not be lost on either of you once you see how this guy operates.
Gotcha.
So, obviously, great production elements, great...
Are you thinking about that woman who brought home a coyote thinking it was a dog with mange?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's why I was smiling and laughing, because whenever I think of coyotes, I think of all those posts like where animal control people have to be like, wait, no, because
That is not a dog,
yeah,
that is
like,
a coyote.
I've seen so many things where it's like, I found this really sick-looking dog.
Do not try to domesticate coyotes. They're monsters.
I saw.
They are wild animals.
I think my favorite.
They're nasty.
I think my favorite version of that was the coyote that clearly just got so confused it just rolled with it.
Oh yeah, the coyote in the bathtub?
Yeah, because there's this great photo out there, if we find it, we'll post it, of a coyote in a bathtub just getting washed, and it just looks so confused. It's just like, this is nice, I guess?
Right.
And then later the lady was like, I got it some food, and the dog's just like, and the coyote's just like, okay. And
Just eating
it was
kibble out
just
of a
like,
bowl.
it's sitting by the window and relaxing now. And I'm like, yeah, this is literally how the domestication of wolves happened. Wolves were just like...
Hey, you got food? And I'm confused.
Killer Scorer, the place where the main topic goes to die. Anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's the funnest part of this podcast.
Funnest?
Most entertaining.
Most entertaining.
Whatever.
Great production lineup across the board. John Gilroy was the film editor for this one. Actually is Dan's twin brother.
Oh.
Cinematography by There Will Be Blood's Robert Elswit.
Oh, wow.
And most importantly, someone who I'm surprised we haven't really talked about much on the show about scores, a soundtrack by James Newton Howard.
Oh. I'm surprised we never covered James Newton Howard on this podcast, because he's like one of the biggest names in film composition for the past 30 years.
Absolutely. One of the most diverse filmographies ever as well. This guy has done the score for Pretty Woman, The Fugitive, Space Jam.
Hey, say what you will about Space Jam. That score kicks ass.
And the animation's good too.
Yeah, I think that's the main, for the most part.
For the most part.
Wayne
Some of
Knight.
it hasn't held up.
Oh.
The Wayne Knight
The
stuff.
Wayne Knight.
Yeah.
The Wayne Knight non-sexy inflation.
Is there a sexy kind of inflation? I mean, no offense to the people who are into that.
I would have to say, there's a whole subreddit for that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make these two uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's a subreddit for everything. Don't go on that website.
Anywho.
There was a thing for a while on DeviantArt back in the day, specifically of inflation, but it wasn't just like inflation. It was knee inflation.
Ew.
with Sonic characters
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
So James Newton Howard. He also did that pretty decent Peter Pan movie score. The Dark Knight with Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, they worked together on the Dark Knight soundtrack.
Yes.
Which one of the Peter Pans was it? Was it that dark?
2003.
Oh, the dark live action one.
The semi-dark.
Oh yeah.
The one with
I saw that in theaters. All I remember is that they confused with Thimble and Kiss like 3 times.
No, the one with Jason Isaacs as Captain Hook.
Was that the one that had a very dark color grading?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one.
That movie's actually not bad.
It's not bad. It's
I don't remember much.
Cheesy, but good.
I always got the vibes that it was trying to ape a lot of like the aesthetics and color gradings of the Pirates movies.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Especially for the nighttime scenes. The color grading in those scenes is just like really simple.
There's a bit of the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings in them
Absolutely,
too,
yeah.
It was the early 2000s. Everyone's ripping off Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Come on.
So
crazy to think that the guy who went from like making the like trashiest horror films imaginable became like a prestige Hollywood director.
yeah, it's kind of funny. Go watch Dead Alive / Brain Dead.
Meet the Feebles.
What the fuck
Which
are we talking about?
I still can't believe that got referenced in that Muppets TV show.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. The Feebles gets referenced.
It's funny with Peter Jackson because he went from doing like those kind of movies to Lord of the Rings, which was fucking huge, to going to eventually doing some weird movies and then doing the Hobbit movies. And the Hobbit movies, let's be honest, they didn't need to be a trilogy. The book is less than 300 pages.
And that was studio interference.
That was studio interference. But what I was going to say, he's really good at documentaries.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, shockingly good. Watch Get Back. It's really good.
Watch They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Yeah.
So, this movie's great. I wish I had a better ramping transition, but in case the prestige behind this film isn't any indication, it is a ruinously effective neo-noir thriller about a villain protagonist.
In fact, for films in a similar vein, even though the protagonist isn't like an outright villain, there's another one that I get similar vibes from. I'm going to cover here on the podcast.
What's that?
Because neither of you have seen it, and I get so mad that this movie got glossed over. I am absolutely showing you guys Under the Silver Lake.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Really good. If you want Garfield in just like pathetic sleazebag mode, it's really good.
Good actor.
Yeah.
He could do that.
It is.
But...
And of course, they throw in cheeky little Spider-Man references in it too. Like, he's a huge comic book nerd and goes to a local comic shop, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I got Spider-Man. I got issue 83 of Spider-Man, and you interested?" You know, like, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, movie actually did fairly well within the festival circuit.
Yeah.
And was a pretty big hit at the box office considering its $8.5 million budget. Made back $50 million. But, still flew under the radar in the grander scheme of, the film industry.
Yeah.
Most notably, I am with everybody in agreeing that Jake Gyllenhaal was absolutely robbed of nominations.
Yes. For this film, absolutely.
He famously lost 30 pounds for the role to better resemble that aforementioned human coyote that Lou Bloom basically is. And there are scenes in the movie that benefited from a lot of method acting on his end and a lot of ad-libbing. And we will get into the particulars of that scene once screening has
concluded.
Once screening has concluded. Dalton and I have seen this, obviously. Erin, thoughts going in?
I'm excited, a little nervous.
You should be.
Yeah, I figured. But yeah, I'm excited to see this movie. I've heard you guys talk about it a million times before, so I guess we just go into the screening.
Let's get into the seedy depths of Nightcrawler. Hello, and
We're
welcome
back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Killer Score, where we are questioning everything that's wrong with humanity.
Yeah.
That's a good reaction to have after
Watching Nightcrawler.
Yes.
I mean, I still remember the first time I finished this, and I was just like,
Yeah. Still bleak, still incredibly well shot and scored and acted. Everyone does amazing, but extra props must go to Jake Gyllenhaal as normal. As expected. James Newton Howard knocked the score out of the park, and I'm excited to get the uninitiated's thoughts after Daulton gives his again.
yeah. So this is like second, maybe third time seeing Nightcrawler, and just as good as the other times, or time, like I said, and it's
Time or times others.
whatever. But yeah, no, just as good this time. Little more. It only becomes, I would say, even more bleak and prescient down the line, because even as people have moved away from cable news, it's still just the same. Like, cable news is still running all based on local crime and trying to get as much like footage as you possibly can out there that's like stomach churning and awful. The only difference is now the internet is even stronger and more powerful, and you could argue that true crime shows and podcasts do the exact same thing with like equally bleak and horrific visions.
Subject matter.
Yeah.
Erin?
Yeah, so as I would say, the soundtrack of this is phenomenal. My only critique of the soundtrack is that some of it sounds a bit inspirational, which is not the mood you're going for. But I understand that that James Newton Howard didn't want it to sound completely like bleak and morose. However, one thing that I can say is with the way that as both of you mentioned, with the rise in popularity of true crime, one of the things that also I've noticed, being someone who unfortunately listens to some true crime podcasts, but anyway, one of the things I have noticed is that with this movie, especially this movie being made 10 years ago, I feel like if it was made today, it would be a completely different movie. Just because it'd probably be all shown on like YouTube and TikTok. Because let's be honest, you can find some gross shit out there on the internet.
Way too much gross shit.
Yeah, like, for example, I once found a Facebook page which started as a comedy page, and then they started showing crime photos. So I immediately reported that shit.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the real horrific part about this movie, is that it shows how easily accessible this stuff is to anybody. Especially if they're complete opportunistic grifters like Lou.
Yeah, because the character of Lou... Let me bring this over a little bit. Okay. The character... Okay, so the character of Lou is very much the idealistic opportunist, in the way that he's like, hey, I found a way to make a quick buck. I'm also a piece of shit.
And a crazy one at that.
And a complete psychopath, because he doesn't show... Because this is just my take. I wouldn't consider him a sociopath, because sociopaths can... Basically, they can't feel empathy or remorse. Psychopaths can't feel shit, but they can mimic others' emotions.
And that certainly tracks with how Lou is characterized in this movie. He's very much
It's cold down here.
It is.
Yeah,
I know, but I don't want to put it on.
Those who are uninitiated to my little audio engineering process might be privy to know that I don't give a shit if there's humming this time because we have a heater in here. It's very cold.
It's really cold in here.
Yeah. It's freezing temperatures, so yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I put that back there so that my co-hosts don't die.
Yeah, I'm putting my coat on. I don't care. Oh
Yeah.
God, this is cold.
But yeah, Lou is very much in that mold of psychopaths who have more or less kind of gotten the idea of human interaction down, but do not
But
perfect
can't
it.
perfect
They cannot
Yeah.
perfect it. I did it again.
Yeah, it's okay. I was just agreeing with you. I didn't have much more to put
I thought
in
you were
there.
branching off of that.
No.
But I think the whole analogy that Jake Gyllenhaal and director, Mr. Director,
Director man.
Mr. Director man,
Chair.
Gary
The-
Buster Holmes.
Buster Holmes, with the Yakuza joke. Dan Gilroy. I think their whole idea of him being a human coyote is very much on the mark because he's gaunt, he's pale, and also a little bit of mythology trivia. Coyotes are typically depicted as
I would
tricksters.
say they were like a trickster god in Navajo folklore.
Yep. And
Which is probably where they had the Native American thing.
Oh,
in there.
yeah, I
Where they
think-
had the
Yeah.
Sitting bull
portrait
poster.
just
Yeah.
hanging in the kitchen.
Yeah.
look at that! Look at you
Even
pointing
though
that
Sitting
out.
Bull was not Navajo.
What was he?
I think he was Sioux
Oh,
or
okay.
Lakota. I can't remember.
Yeah.
To Google.
Yeah, I'm
To
not
Google
sure. I
because
couldn't
can't
exactly
remember.
tell you.
I know it was Plains, but it wasn't like Southwest.
So did you?
Lakota.
Lakota.
Okay.
Okay.
So did you think this was a good film though?
I thought it was a really good film.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good film. Why did I use that past tense? Anyway, I think it's a really well put together film. I can't think of any gripes about it besides that one thing in the score. And I feel like occasionally they lean in too much of Jake Gyllenhaal being like a complete piece of shit to the point where it's like he's trying to coerce his boss into sleeping with him.
Yeah. That part, one could call it a little egregious, but I think it more or less puts the nail in the coffin of his character.
Yeah, I think that's honestly only there so that Gilroy and
Rene
Gyllenhaal could really just like destroy literally any sort of redemption or even credibility of the character, like even a slightest shred of empathy towards him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, for context, something I forgot when I did the ramping introduction earlier, I believe Jake Gyllenhaal was a producer on this film as well, hence his involvement with the characterization.
Well, he was given a lot of creative leeway and decisions on this. I'm also glad that they used the coyote as like the symbol instead of vultures because vultures actually provide a good service. Coyotes just are shitty dogs and wolves that wish that they could step up to the level of
Oh my
their
God.
counterparts, whereas vultures are the majestic street cleaners of nature.
Okay, do you know what this reminds me of, man?
What?
This is the same energy as when you were being a racist to dolphins in Endless Summer.
I will absolutely be a racist, xenophobic piece of shit towards dolphins. They know what they did.
Anyway.
And coyotes, apparently.
All I'm saying, they didn't check the waters too well when the Titanic sinkings happened. We all believe that it was just, people getting cold and eventually slipping under the water. All I'm saying is some dolphins could have dragged some people under.
Nightcrawler.
What am I going to do? Offend the Titanic survivors?
We're all dead. No, I'm not just saying you're gonna offend everybody. I'm just baffled at that statement.
All I'm saying, maybe the captain got let off course by a dolphin. You never know.
Erin, I'd like to personally thank you for setting the camera up. I'm so glad we have this now.
I hate Mojang and I hate Minecraft for giving the implication that dolphins are friendly little fellas that'll help you out in the water. They will not.
Also, the anti-Semitism thing, that sucked too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
fuck Notch.
What are you talking about? Everyone knows that Hatsune Miku created Minecraft.
What the fuck?
Yeah, true.
True, yeah. I've never heard of Notch. Everyone knows that in between being an amazing artist, Miku had time to code and release Minecraft, which was really cool of her.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
All right. Cinematography's great.
Oh, yeah.
Daulton and I brought up some obvious inspirations that could have been instilled into that, like Michael Mann, namely Thief and Manhunter. Same sort of lighting as Drive, which, funny enough...
Yeah, I noticed that it was very similar, like, mix of dark and neon.
Although...
God, this was only like 10 or so years ago, and notice how much better the lighting and color grading and sound design was in this movie compared to, like, every film now.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Which, another connection to Drive, the diner in which Riz Ahmed's character Rick is being interviewed by Jake Gyllenhaal is the same diner where the love interest from Drive, played by Carey Mulligan, worked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
Cool.
A little bit of location trivia.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cinematography's great.
Oh, yeah.
They do some great POV shots with
the camera.
With Lou and Rick in the camera. There's a great little montage of Lou steadily getting more money from the footage he turns into the news station, and then getting better cameras, which we get to see the shots taken from.
Mm-hmm. And they also make a good point in the movie about how...
That's your phone, I think.
I'll ignore it for now. It's probably Facebook. Anyway, no, they do make a good point in the movie how towards the end when they're after, like, the big... I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but there's a big chase and whatever.
Yeah.
At the end, how the media will push a narrative even if the evidence has changed.
Yep. That will be a spoiler thing.
That'll be a spoiler thing.
And I think it plays into the overall social commentary going on of the societal and socio-political implications of if it bleeds, it leads kind of news stories. Mm-hmm. They specifically make a point of Rene Russo's character, who runs the station, Nina, makes a point of portraying crime stories as happening mostly to upper crust suburban white people.
Yeah.
And maybe implying, wink, that it happened due to criminal actions of minorities.
Yeah, there's basically the narrative that the media in this movie is pushing is that we need I'm not going to use that term now. Yeah. Is that they're trying to get stories about quote unquote urban crime breaking into the suburbs. That's a quote from the movie.
Quote from the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they specifically say how like they try to focus on, white affluent victims and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which is, unfortunately, as someone who does listen to true crime podcasts, mm-hmm. That is something that does happen. That basically stories of missing or murdered people of color basically go unreported,
under the rug,
yeah, because
it doesn't push the narrative of missing white girl syndrome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is something that I could do a whole spiel on that, but I'm not going to because I'll be here all day.
Yeah, I mean, it even gets pushed nowadays. Like, if you spend any time on social media, you'll notice, like, all these videos getting pushed by affluent, rich white women about like, oh, signs to look out for trafficking, like that you're about to be human trafficked, or look at all these things that you can conveniently buy to help protect yourself in your home.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're not addressing the problem, nor are you fixing it.
Yeah.
And
it's just scaring people.
You look in a fucking mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, that being the way the media operates in Nightcrawler plays into Lou's hands in such a terrifying way. Because he stalks stories, essentially, like a predator.
Yeah.
Goes out, takes a police scanner, goes hunting for traffic accidents or shootouts.
Traffic accidents, shootouts, murder, assault, those kind of things. Anything where fires, anything that you can basically get a story out of that will grab people's attention.
As the old journalistic saying goes, if it bleeds, it leads. Yeah.
I have a little observation about the score. It's not 100% a counterpoint to what you said, Erin, but James Newton Howard's score is predominantly pretty bleak, synthy, and dark.
Yeah.
But I believe the splashes of inspirational music, specifically when Lou is talking to others.
I was going to note, a lot of this music almost sounds like it could be like corrupted versions of what you would hear on like local cable access news.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I think there was an intentional juxtaposition of the inspirational songs. Because the music is playing and it sounds almost inspiring until you realize the person extolling the virtues of persistence and media ambition is a carefully manicured fraud.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I just got the funniest idea in my head.
Oh, boy.
Of like the counterpart version of this movie called like Day Roller.
Day Roller?
And instead of being like, all the if it bleeds, it leads stuff, the other thing that the news loves to do, because let's face it, the news loves to avoid talking about global conflict and politics and all that stuff. They love to.
Oh, duh.
Unless it affects white people somewhere.
Or unless it's like something like C-SPAN or MSNBC, that kind of stuff. Like then that's more focused on global events.
Yeah.
But the other thing local TV loves is quirky, fun local
daytime talk shows.
Yeah, stuff like skateboarding pig found in Santa Barbara, or like San Bernardino Valley. I want to see the like just as intense version of this, but it's about finding all those like fluff pieces.
Dude, you know what this is? It's like the Walk Hard of news thrillers.
Yeah.
I am not going to get beat to having the first footage on this goddamn skateboarding pig. Do not fuck me.
Don't you fuck with that footage of Twiggy the squirrel.
Oh, God.
Did you see her on those skis?
Oh, my God.
We have
I forgot about Twiggy the squirrel until you just brought it up now.
You son of a bitch. They found out how to make a duck go on a surfboard. You think I'm going to let you have that? You get the little boy with the lemonade stand helping to fundraise for the school.
Which also brings us to another topic. Which is how fucked this country is.
Yeah. Alex's lemonade stand. Look it up, people.
Because we don't have universal health care.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying Alex's lemonade stand is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
it's
the fact.
It's a great charity, but it's also.
I'm saying the fact that it exists is an indictment of the American system.
Yes. Nightcrawler.
We'll have to get the ball rolling on Day Roller, though.
Yeah.
Someone get like A24 and
like the video that I saw that I was watching last week of the rabbit hopping competition in Japan. It was the most adorable thing ever, and I needed it that day.
Oh, or something like the, Local penguin causes a stir at the zoo as he learns how to bounce a ball on his head. That kind of thing.
Yeah, or the things like baby tiger is born at the Philadelphia Zoo, and it's like, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Here's some B-roll footage of it rolling around on the ground and pouncing on a toy
fly.
mouse or something
Yeah.
like that.
And people think I can have a pet tiger. No, you
No,
can't.
no, you can't.
tigers will kill you.
Tigers will eat you.
Nightcrawler. We've talked a lot about Jake Gyllenhaal, but I need to reiterate just how great the acting is from everyone.
Everyone's
You got Riz Ahmed playing the hapless, idiotic pawn to Lou's scheme. Rick is a dumbass, and you almost feel sorry for him.
But you also remember that there's so many times you could bail out or rat on him, and
He doesn't.
yeah,
because he's stupid and he likes the money.
he's greedy. He's greedy.
He's also kind of desperate because, as he says, he's living out of a garage and he's only making $30 a day.
Yeah. But it doesn't change the fact that he what does him in is great.
Yeah.
Because at any point he could have taken the moral high ground and been like, "Hey, I'm not doing that." But he always just
he always finds an excuse to be folded
Yeah.
back in. Renee Russo's also great as Nina. Also, similarly, she could be a voice of reason, but she is too undone by her greed and her complete selfishness. She is a bitch.
Yeah.
What she didn't deserve to have any extortion happen to her, obviously, but
she still happily uses.
She's a cog in the system.
Yeah,
She's
she
a
still
cog in the
happily
system.
uses Lou's footage and
So-
doesn't seem to feel like any remorse about it.
and then
Yeah.
gross enough, she actually seems to be endeared by Lou towards the later half of the film.
Yeah, she's just like, oh yeah, this guy's a complete and total creep and a psycho, but he's a go-getter.
And it's like, do you really want that guy working for you?
Yeah.
And of course, because I'm me, we got to talk about Bill Paxton, how great he does
Oh yeah.
at somehow being a more charmless asshole than Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh,
in
yeah.
that. He plays the part of the stereotypical rival in the business.
Yeah.
He's the guy who inspires Lou to be part of it, but
Yeah.
he's just a jerk. He's just rude and pushy to everybody.
Yeah.
Because even from the beginning, Lou is a piece of shit. He steals.
He murders.
Yeah. Literally, his first scene, this isn't a spoiler. It happens in his first scene in the movie. He just murders a guy.
Yeah, he murders a security guard.
For his
Yeah.
watch, because he was stealing stuff from a scrapyard to sell to another.
Yeah.
He was literally just cutting wire off of a fence.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
scrap wire and copper and all that kind of stuff,
Copper, wire, tires.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Jake Gyllenhaal had said about Lou is that he got half of his aphorisms and his catchphrases from business cards and from stock resume files.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy who lives by 80s business videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I can see that. Like, American Psycho kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some mad Patrick Bateman
Oh, yeah.
Vibes going
going on. So I guess since we're heading into the home stretch spoiler stuff, I guess, so we can
Wrap her up?
so we can
Yeah.
so we can put a bow on the thematic stuff.
Yeah, because, we obviously want you guys to watch this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Brief spoiler.
were you about to say something?
I was gonna say, if you want to watch this movie, you can rent it on Amazon or YouTube.
Yeah. I don't know if it's
I don't think
currently
it's
available
streaming anywhere
Hulu.
unless it's on Hulu.
Hulu.
Well, we didn't have to rent it then. We have Hulu accounts.
Yeah.
You guys did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a Hulu.
I should have
account.
asked you what
yeah, you
accounts
should
had.
have.
No, jeez.
It's $3. Who cares?
Whatever. You
Anyway.
can rent it, and I think I saw it was streaming on Stars as well.
Yes, Stars you can get through an Amazon Prime subscription or their own streaming app.
Yeah. They're available through multiple things too, I think, Stars, not just Amazon. But yeah, so you can watch it through those. Now we're definitely entering into spoiler territories.
Right here.
Yep.
So I think where this movie really starts to shine and erases any sort of, like, if you even had like the slightest liking
Of Lou
or sympathy towards him anymore, even after like the sexual coercion stuff, I feel what really knocks it out is when he literally starts to press circumstances so that crimes will occur,
and just tampers with crime scenes,
and so that he can like
tampering
get
with evidence
into a crime scene, because it's already bad enough when he goes onto an active crime scene and moves a body so he can get a better shot,
and moves into people's houses.
But then he literally engineers a violent shootout and car chase.
One of the running story threads that Lou and Rick chases is a supposed home invasion by two Hispanic thugs. And eventually he tracks the car's license plate, follows the men, makes sure that they're at a location where he could call and sick the police on them, and then instigates a shootout in the Chinese restaurant that they go to.
Yeah, by specifically making the cops paranoid that one of them has a gun.
which does happen to be true, but he didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he gambled with it, and even Rick is like, there are people in here, they're gonna die.
Yeah, and he literally sends his cameraman out of the car to, like, a corner on the street right across from the restaurant where they know a violent incident will probably occur, just to get another angle of footage.
Yeah.
And that moment too, when Rick tries and fails to get him off the ledge of the moral event horizon, as it were.
Yeah.
And he says, "You just don't understand people. You don't get them." Then a scene passes, and they come up to the restaurant, and then Lou basically threatens him with termination or being sold out by saying, "What if the problem was that it wasn't just that I didn't understand people, but that I don't like them?
Yeah.
And what if I could hurt you right now?"
Mm-hmm. Not to mention stuff like he literally, once his buddy wises up and tries to, like, get himself treated more equally and like more like an actual business partner, he essentially engineers the guy's death.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when when after the car chase and the SUV flips and there's only one person left in the SUV,
he sends him to specifically go get footage.
Yeah, Lou sends Rick to be like, says this guy's dead, sends him to go get footage, and the guy is alive and he's holding a gun.
Yeah.
And of course he shoots Rick.
Yeah, and Lou, just cold as ice, basically
films his friend
dying, and takes the camera.
Yeah.
Just walks away. And salt in the wound, when the police detectives try and confront him about this, he just goes, "They're experienced ambulance workers getting him. He's in good hands."
Yeah, he was literally like, "Oh, what was I supposed to do?"
What was
the thing is, you can actually see him almost starting to panic a little bit when he's in the room getting interrogated.
A lot twitchier,
a lot more fidgety, because he realizes he's backpedaling on his story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had to fix a contradiction in his story. Speaking of that mask, there's one scene in particular that we have to talk about. And totally not just because we need an hour. But we got to talk about the intervening scene when
the mayor
Bill,
scene, yeah.
when Bill Paxton beats him to the footage, and Lou is in the bathroom, and he goes up to the mirror and just screams at it and smashes the mirror. Jake Gyllenhaal, as I have alluded to while we were watching the movie, actually cut his hand on the mirror while smashing it.
Yeah, and that was one of the earliest things they filmed, and they had no idea he was going to do that. So they literally just had to, like, shoot the film, basically almost the rest of the film, around giving him a more, like, closed-off body language by, like, hiding his hands constantly and stuff.
Like in his pockets and...
behind his back.
In his jacket.
Yeah, behind his back, like, you know, sort of like this when he talks.
Because that hand was...
attention or something.
Yeah.
Because that was a... There was a cast over his hand.
Yeah.
42 stitches,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And in Jake Gyllenhaal's own words, that scene held the movie together because that is basically the most honest emotion, or possibly the only honest picture you get of Lou.
Yeah.
Everything else was him trying to
putting on that cold, calculated mask of his.
Yeah.
And the real Lou is, well, an animal, a monster.
Yeah. A coyote.
A coyote. Howling at the proverbial moon, as it were. That is so sad. We got.
Oh yeah, the post.
That's X.
Anyway.
For those just
you can't even really see it that much.
Yeah, not with this angle.
Damn it.
It's alright. We got a banner. We're gonna hang it up once the murder basement is a little more constructed and stuff.
More constructed.
Less murdery.
And also when I find the hooks for it.
Yeah, once we get some like J hooks or something.
But we're on our way.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's this movie. It's bleak, but oh so beautiful in its darkness.
Yeah, definitely one of the best Gyllenhaal performances.
Oh, absolutely.
Gyllenhaal's a super versatile actor. He can do comedy as well, like I mentioned. He can even do action films pretty dang well. There was that sci-fi action thriller, I think it was called Source Code, that he was in.
Wouldn't know.
I can't remember.
The one with the exploding train problem. Yeah, I think it was called like Source Code.
Source Code, maybe
something like that. But he can do action thrillers, or heck, all you gotta do is look at the reviews for the Prince of Persia movie he starred in, which people were like, "Yeah, it's alright."
One of the better video game movies.
Yeah, it's a very. From what I've heard people say, it's a very middle of the road film. It's like it's not great, but it's not bad.
Say what you will about the MCU, though. Great Mysterio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like.
It is
from the clips I've seen. I haven't seen Far From Home.
It is the. I would say that not Source Code, that Prince of Persia is very much what I like to call a Scorpion King movie, where you're like, oh yeah, that movie.
That movie exists.
That's all right. That movie's all right.
Yeah, you're just gonna forget it's there.
Yeah.
Same kind of school as like the Mortal Kombat movie the 2020 one I'm talking about.
Yeah. The funny thing I found out about the Scorpion King is the reason that movie gets brought up in Nope, and like there's like production hoodies on it and stuff, is that was one of the last big Hollywood movies that made extensive uses of horses and stuff like that. And you know, the family in the film like trains horses for Hollywood movies.
Yeah. And there's a bit of a timeline correlation there because Keith David, his character.
You mean Lakeith Stanfield?
No. We're talking about Nope here, right?
Yeah, isn't Keith David in Nope?
Yeah, he's the main character's dad.
Oh, he's the dad. Okay.
He's the guy who owned the ranch to begin with.
Oh, okay.
And they even discuss how he was the guy who trained all the horses.
Okay.
Great use of him, by the way. He's awesome.
Oh, he's great in everything. Like, honestly, after Chevy Chase left Community, and in season 5 and 6, they filled in, like, different, like, slotted in different old man characters to kind of fill the Pierce role. Keith David's the one they use in the final season, and he's, like, a former big tech guy from the 90s, but, like, he's completely out of date on, like, how technology works nowadays, even though he was a big tech guy. And he's like, oh, I'm sure it's all the same, bits and bytes and stuff. What are we up to now? Mega? Terra. And then he just pulls off his glasses. He's like, those bastards finally did it.
That guy could read billboards and make them compelling.
Oh yeah, and like if you listen to his commentary on other stuff too, like
They Live.
yeah, where like him and John Carpenter were like, and Roddy Piper were all like, no, we're not cutting down that fight scene. It's awesome.
Yeah. Cheesy? Yes. Objectively good, though.
I literally saw an interview recently where somebody asked him, they're like, did you ever have any thoughts about cutting down the fight scene? And he just goes, fuck no.
I'm just remembering that someone asked a question at a Comic-Con
Yeah.
asked John Carpenter a question about like.
Oh
was
yeah,
Escape
it's
from
like,
LA?
yeah, it's like Escape from New York was so good. What happened with the sequel? And he just goes, fuck you.
I love how offended he sounded.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
Because it's a rude question.
Yeah, like, why?
Yeah.
It's like... It's
There's
like...
so many ways you could have phrased
Yeah,
that.
like...
Yeah.
A little lesson for all y'all in the peanut gallery. Sometimes directors are aware what they make is shit.
That doesn't mean you have to remind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, spoiler alert, it's not always in their control.
Yeah, it's sometimes out of their hands. And like another way you could have phrased it is, I really enjoyed like how much creative freedom you clearly had on Escape from New York. Did you have the same sort of freedoms on Escape from LA?
At which point,
No.
that's when they shit talk the producers.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
there's
Like Kevin Smith did with John Peters.
Yeah,
with
like,
Superman Lives.
you don't go like if I ever met Kevin Smith, I would never go. It like even though like his later output, I don't think has been anywhere near as good as his early output.
Reboot's fine. Jane Silent Bob reboot.
I did enjoy that. I wouldn't go up to him and be like, you know, Clerks was such a good movie. What the fuck was Yoga Hosers? Because that's just a mean thing to say.
Yeah. Like,
People are people.
it's just
Yeah.
like sometimes you just gotta remember that there are human beings behind the cameras and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I personally would take umbrage as like, hey, Rich, you are good as Two-Face. What the fuck happened with this obscure animated thing? It's like, I acted and I liked the exposure and or money and also...
And also, fuck you.
Yeah, like, and just like, honestly, props to him for not...
taking that, honestly.
well, I was gonna say props to Kevin Smith for not just quitting making films after that horrible Bruce Willis movie he made.
Cop Out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like he literally had to deal with Bruce Willis just constantly verbally abusing him on that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was depressing.
Interesting man, that Kevin Smith. I'm sure if you guys have probably all heard the John Peters thing. If you haven't, look up Kevin Smith, John Peters.
That will never cease to be funny.
It won't. But much less well known, also just as funny, if not funnier. Look up Kevin Smith and Prince.
Oh God.
Because there's a great story he had about when Prince like saw Dogma and loved it and was like, "Hey, I want you to make a documentary about me." And like, obviously, this documentary never came to fruition, never came out. But he has a whole story about it, and it is hilarious.
Prince. He was a character.
Like, apparently in Paisley Park Studios, Prince just has speakers like set up like everywhere.
Like minefields.
Yeah, like so he can record like anywhere if he gets the sudden whim. And Kevin Smith's like, wait, so you're telling me this man could have recorded Raspberry Beret on the shitter?
Yes.
And they're like, yeah, if he wanted to.
I'm about to make you cringe. I shall record everything.
Yeah, basically.
Everyone hates that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, because I'm just gonna make an odd reference. For example, when Dalton and I were watching Dead Meat on YouTube, check them out. Great horror content. Unless you already do, then continue watching the videos anyway. And James mentioned in the Blair Witch video how what's her name? Not Rebecca, not Sarah.
The lead girl?
The lead girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot her name.
I forgot her name. Something Doherty.
I'll put it in post.
Anyway, he really liked that she personified, like, the obnoxious film student, like, especially the obnoxious college film student, and wants to get literally everything on video. And everyone hates
Heather.
that person. Heather.
Everyone. Heather.
And everyone hates the person who lives with the camera in their hand.
Yeah. You know what I just realized that I was going to make a comparison to?
What?
Kevin Smith is literally just Mark Borchardt if he was a little more self-aware and became successful.
Yeah. And was actually likable.
Yeah. If you haven't seen American Movie, my God, what a funny.
Coven.
Coven. It's Coven, man.
It's Colvin.
Yeah.
Don't you need, like, a umlaut over that?
It's like, no.
That was great, man. That was great. Or, no choice. We got to get my mom out in the woods.
All right, smash his head through the cabinet.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
That's not scored. For if anyone, great movie. If you ever wanted to see what goes into making like
The old style.
yeah, like
with
no
film.
budget. If you ever want to see what goes into making no budget like films, like literally with your friends in the backyard, watch American Movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and honestly, there's only so much we can say about this movie without being a broken record. So,
Yeah.
out of spoilers, go watch Nightcrawler.
Go watch American Movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And American Movie.
And if you somehow haven't seen the Blair Witch, what do you do? Because we just brought that up. Go watch the Blair Witch. And
Go watch Blair Witch Project, the original. Not
The original.
sequel.
Not Blair Witch 2. I hear mixed things about the
Josh?
Yeah, because we got a murder basement.
We go to Blair Witch, and
but-
but, go stand in the corner.
Yeah, but I
I'm
hear
kidding.
the Blair Witch video games are all pretty solid.
Not bad.
If you can find the old abandonware ones, they're like actually fun. And the
And
most
they do expand on the lore of the Blair Witch.
yes, and they are canon actually.
They are.
And the most recent Blair Witch game, solid horror game from what I've heard. The dog in it is a very good dog.
He's a good boy.
Is a good boy.
Yay.
And the 2013, 2016, I think?
2016, I think.
2016 Blair Witch movie. I hear mixed things. Some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah, mixed bag.
Blair Witch 2 though, pure schlock, awful.
Awful.
Don't watch
It has
Don't watch
nothing
it.
to
Don't
do
watch
with
it.
the. It has nothing to do with the original either. Nothing.
It feels more like it's set in the same vein and vibes as like 13 Ghosts of all things.
Yeah.
The remake, not the original 13 Ghosts.
And that remake is.
It's weird.
It's not.
I
good.
wouldn't call it an outright bad film. I mean, Matthew Lillard's great in it, and there's some really solid performances.
Yeah, but Matthew Lillard, wasn't he also in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
Yeah.
And that movie sucked.
But he's also the best part of it.
But he is the best part of that movie.
Matthew Lillard elevates anything.
Honestly, like, even though the Scooby Doo movies are really mixed bags,
Oh,
who else were you picking for
Oh,
Shaggy?
I was expecting you to go off on both the Scooby-Doo movies.
Oh, and wait, the live action ones?
Yeah.
I love those movies.
Like, they're good.
They're
like,
great.
Like, yeah. I feel like they suffer from some wonky direction is all.
Yeah.
Writing good, but with all due respect to the guy, I don't like Raja Gosnell's direction.
That's fair, but you also can't deny that like all the performances are top notch.
Oh, absolutely. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr. actually turning in good performance.
I feel like Freddie Prinze in those movies is incredibly underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Linda Cardellini looking.
Oh,
Great.
Linda Cardellini is
Just-
Erin's with me on that one.
Yeah.
As am I, my
Yeah.
brother.
Latex suit in the second movie.
With the latex.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
2
It's
episodes.
like, I want to do something, but I'm allergic to latex.
Like, and even the weird like side characters are great in that movie. Like
Rowan Atkinson.
or like
Ron Atkinson,
or
Seth
this-
Green.
the sassy theme park attendant in the first one who like mocks Daphne's wardrobe.
Yeah.
Purple is a fall color. It's the middle of May.
Yeah. Here's a tip for you.
Yeah.
The fact that Melvin Dew actually exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melvin Dew.
Yeah, no, the great films. Go watch those. And I love Matthew Lillard's cameo in Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Erin, have you seen
Yeah, I saw it in
Back in Action?
theaters.
Shit. All right.
Great movie. If you folks haven't seen that, in my opinion,
Better
it is the best theatrical Looney Tunes film.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
And I like how in that movie, Bugs and Daffy just sort of drop the act and are like an old married couple.
Yeah.
But-
I also like how Brendan Fraser is playing Brendan Fraser's stunt double,
Yeah.
and everyone says he looks nothing like Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm a stunt double. You don't see me up
See,
close. and camera."
Steve Martin was great in it too.
Oh, everyone's great. The whole bit with the Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Walmart in the desert.
Yeah, they really do put these everywhere.
Yeah.
So, might be able to film next week, might not, depends.
That's on schedule.
We'll be back sooner than last time.
Sooner than last.
Way sooner than last time.
Way sooner than last time and this time.
Until then, however, I'm going to be working on Astro Song and other projects.
Yep.
Go watch the first episode up on my channel if you haven't. This guy,
Link in the description.
Links down
links
below.
in the doobly-doo.
Yep.
This guy does amazing in that episode.
Thank you.
Somebody else might
Yeah, some
be
other
in the
people
show.
do some pretty amazing stuff on that show, and so there's got some other stuff coming in.
The episode hasn't been released yet.
Yes. Anyway,
Still working.
so yeah, check us out, Patreon, Ko-Fi, all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see you next episode, which...
Next episode is my pick. So, it's a new year, and the new year is when people generally set goals, make resolutions, look forward on their lives, but also look back. And maybe this year, for New Year's, we should look back on things that changed, things that haven't changed, and go way back to 1927 with Fritz Lang's Metropolis.
Woo!